everyone. Welcome to Rebecca and Rebecca. My name is Rebecca Yager, and my partner in crime over here is Rebecca Reed. How you doing today, Rebecca?
Been really busy, so I'm a tad bit on the tired side today, but that's okay. We're going to talk about books that should perk me up.
There you go. We're talking about a delightful rom-com style book today by Betsy Amant called Tacos for Two. So let's give you a little background on it before we get into our discussion. So here's what Tacos for Two is all about. Rory Perez, a food truck owner who can't cook, is struggling to keep the business she inherited from her aunt out of the red. And an upcoming contest during Modest Texas annual food truck festival seems to be the best way to do it. The prize money could finally give her a solid financial footing and keep her cousin with special needs paid up at her beloved assisted living home. Then maybe Rory will have enough time to meet the man she's talking to via an anonymous online dating site. Meanwhile, Jude Strong Worthington is tired of being a puppet at his manipulative father's law firm. It's a good word. And the food truck festival seems like the perfect opportunity to dive into his passion for cooking and finally call his life his own. But if he loses the contest, he's back at the law firm for good. Failure is not an option. Complications arise when Rory's chef gets mono and she realizes she has to cook after all. Then Jude discovers that his stiffest competition is the same woman he's been falling for online in the past month. Will these unlikely chefs sacrifice it all for the sake of love? Or will there only ever be tacos for one? I like what Booklist said about this book. It says Saint Amant has something for everyone in her present day Texas twist on the classic rom-com movie You've Got Mail. Saint Amant's empathy makes this romance glow, and it will resonate with everyone who has braved the unknown in pursuit of their dreams. So tell me what you thought about Tacos for Two.
Well, it was not my go-to genre, so I was a little nervous about reading it, but I honestly, well, I listened to it obviously because I'm the audiobook queen. But first of all, the narrator nailed it. I mean, she did a fantastic job. I really appreciated her ability to, pronounce the Spanish, but yet keep it kind of she didn't go overboard with it. Sometimes I think that the accent can be overdone, and she did a really good job because they're not actually Mexican, they're Texan, so it's like that mixture really comes through. I think she does a great job. And I just laughed. I thought it was hilarious. And so many of the scenes just have that nice little touch of humor that it didn't take me any time at all. It was a real joy to listen to. So I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I might.
So you can say rom-coms or romance is not your genre of choice usually?
The romance I like, but I don't usually read a lot of humor, I guess, especially contemporary. Now, I've read quite a bit of historical romance that has with some authors that include a lot of humor, and I appreciate humor. I like humor, but I don't think I go out and really seek that type of book so much. But this one was, yeah, it was very good. I enjoyed it a lot.
Well, good, and kudos to the narrator who read it, because I like that. I agree with you. Sometimes accents can be overdone, even in the books, even in the print versions where they're trying to get across, the different languages or accents, and they can be overdone. But this is Tex-Mex. I'm in Texas, and this apparently takes place not too far east of here, between where Betsy and I live. Betsy lives in North Louisiana, so I can see why she placed it there and stuff. Did you have any trouble with the characters? I have to say I enjoyed the book too, by the way. And after I finished reading it, I had to go watch You've Got Mail because I had never watched the movie from start to finish. I'd seen bits and pieces of it. So I did actually go, it inspired me to go watch the movie.
I need to do that. I have not watched the movie. I think you would probably appreciate the book more if you have watched the movie, but I still liked it even though I've never watched the movie. So don't let that deter you.
I agree.
And like I think you're right. I would like to watch it now that I've read the book. So just to kind of get more of the references that are in there. And but I Rory was an interesting character in that, she struggled so much to like decide whether to embrace her heritage, whether or not, there was so much struggle and both sides really. I felt like the whole thing was about, do you go along with family traditions? Do you follow the line of tradition? Do you stick with, what your parents and your grandparents, that job, the heritage that you've been given,
Mhm.
or do you branch off on your own to something that really makes your own heart filled with joy? I felt like both Jude and Rory were struggling with the exact same thing, but they took it different ways because Rory at first, of course, stuck with her heritage and she wanted to, she inherited this food truck from her beloved aunt. She had many reasons for making that a success or wanting to make it a success, but her heart really wasn't in it because cooking was not her thing. Whereas Jude, he was the lawyer, he was getting ready to take the bar. That had been his family tradition. It was his expectation from his father, and he did not want to do this. It was so he actually takes the step, whereas Rory just doesn't. So it was very interesting the contrast that Betsy used between these two characters to showcase both sides of that issue that many people face, I feel like.
Yeah, the family obligations can be tough, and especially like you said, the heritage. It's a beloved aunt who practically raised Rory, so she wants to honor her, in all the ways she can. But do you really honor yourself? Um, if that's not your thing, and that is a nice piece of the story. And you're right, it's two different. Rory is dealing with it one way and Jude is dealing with it in another way, even though it's a similar situation. So it was a nice piece there. Rory, let's talk likability. Rory, she was a little bit of a split with me because I love that, she was so sweet to her cousin Hannah. Who does have special needs, and Hannah is a great character in the book, by the way.
I agree.
Just really delightful, and she's so devoted to this aunt and wanting to keep the family heritage going. So I like Rory's heart. On the other side, I kind of wanted to smack her across the head because she jumped to so many conclusions, and she was always someone was out to, get her or. I don't know. How do I say that? That she jumped to conclusions without knowing the real story behind things, and was too feisty and fussed at people. And Betsy did try to lay a background of this with the previous relationship that had gone bad, where the ex-boyfriend had even used Hannah. And so Rory, by being really protective, was also somewhat abrasive at times.
I agree. And I do think Betsy really tried to set that up. But I was with you. I think I was just the first few times it was okay, but after she did it like the fourth or fifth time, I was like, okay, that's enough. Grow up. That's what I wanted to tell her. It's like, grow up. Not everybody is, and especially because there was evidence that she was just totally discounting about the character, Jude's character. She was like just believing what she surmised and assumed rather than what was in front of her face as far as his actual character. And I'm like, you're really being closed-minded, and it really kind of bothered me that she was continuing and persisting so hard in that, closed-mindedness that she was exhibiting.
She had the Jude's family, the brother and the father in the law firm do not have the best reputation in town, or somewhat manipulative. I cannot say that
word.
So she is just stuck on what she thinks she knows about the family, and it's like she's refusing to look at the character of Jude himself when he's proving himself. And I wanted Rory to catch on a little sooner than she did.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was interesting that she judged them all, based that way, but yet she didn't want everybody to judge her with her family, because she kept insisting she couldn't cook, even though that was her family reputation. So it was kind of interesting that she had that double standard for herself and Jude, and didn't understand that that was what she was doing.
Yeah.
Even Hannah got it before Rory got it,
Listen, I love the way Hannah was the very blunt and very, clear spoken. There's no gray area with Hannah. It was, black or white. And she was such a great voice of reason for Rory, and a great voice of reason throughout the whole book. That, all right, if Hannah's not quite smacking Rory, maybe we'll give her another chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Hannah was great. The side characters, well, I guess we should talk about Jude. We've talked about Rory. Jude, like you said, is taking the chance. He is supposed to be this lawyer, and he's under all kinds of pressure to join the family law business with his brother and with his father. And he's the one who says, my heart is with cooking. And he does it, makes kind of a dirty deal with his father, but to even extricate himself from his family.
Yeah, I kind of wondered about that whole bet, or whatever you want to call it, that they made, that deal. I guess it wasn't a bet, it was like a deal. I don't know, in some part of me says, why did you need that deal? Like, you could have, I don't know. I mean, I know he wanted, because at that point he wasn't even really trying to be close to his father. Later on, that there's a lot of things that happen, and so later on that deal kind of maybe becomes more important, I guess. But at the beginning, when he first made it, I'm like, why are you even doing that? You just go on your own and just forget it. That was kind of what I wanted to tell him, I think. But I did like the other side characters as well. The Nicole, who was Rory's best friend, and of course Grady, who was her cook, even though they didn't tell anybody that he was the cook, because they wanted, that reputation again, that she had to be the cook. I found that hilarious. There were so many scenes that were just so funny after, because of that hidden truth, really, that made it funny.
I like that. The hidden truth. I like that.
Jude's partner.
It was Cody, chef, right?
Cody, was that his name?
Oh no, you mean his partner in the truck? His best friend is Cody, and Alton was in the truck.
Alton, that's the one. Yeah. Alton, yeah. I loved him. He was
In fact, maybe we ought to suggest Betsy write a book about Alton and the little girlfriend from the cluck truck.
Yeah, the chicken place. Yeah.
So there we go, because there's intrigue. Because even Alton had a little bit of a character arc and a little bit of character growth throughout the story. A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I did not. And that twist caught me really, really good. So there are some surprises in there that I did not see. I mean, I thought something would happen, but it wasn't what happened. The thing that happened was not what I expected to happen at all.
Yeah. So, and that's good when there's some nice surprises through there, and a nice twist in there. So for writers, to me, what stands out in this book is, let's talk about the motivation, because Rory, and this is something we're always concerned about with our characters, they have to be likable, even though they're going to learn something and become an even better person towards the end of the book. And Rory almost is on the verge of, do we like this girl?
Yeah.
Do we want to take this journey with her? And Betsy did, again, try to lay the motivation down for the reasoning behind Rory's distrust of a lot of people. But I think it's something that the writers need to be aware of. You don't want milquetoast characters. You don't want them boring, and Rory's not boring. So
No.
great success there. But the balance between making them likable, or at least the reader being willing to take the journey.
Yeah. I mean, there were several things that Betsy did lay out. Like we said, the past boyfriend was a huge one that kept coming up. And then the father and her relationship with her father had a lot to do with her reactions as well. And I found that one, that father relationship, that was more compelling to me, in the way she acted on the parts that it applied to. I didn't have a problem with that one. I just think that sometimes the go-to of the boyfriend it stretched a little too far in a few places. I don't know, as a writer, it's like, yeah, but I don't know what I would have done differently to make it more, to make it fill in the gap that she needed, because she needed it to stretch as far as it stretched to make it, to keep the tension. But there was just, I almost needed like one more little twist to it or something else to it that would have added another element that could have been brought in then. Because I felt like by the time we got to the end of that, we had heard that story about too many times. So I don't know. I mean, it's easy to second guess and it's hard to write books. So, I mean, I'm not dissing Betsy at all, because
no.
I overall, the book, this is just nitpicking.
Yes, we are just nitpicking. That's
yeah, for my own and for myself, like to think like, okay, what else could you put in there just to add that one little extra over the top thing that would be like, oh, well, of course she's reacting this way because, I don't know what it is.
But we want to understand Rory's motivation a little more. So maybe one extra detail about the ex-boyfriend Thomas, or one extra detail about, growing up or something. Again, Rory's heart is there, and that comes through because she's concerned about everyone else, almost to the detriment of herself. And that is something that's very relatable. A lot of people put, the family obligations and the family heritage first, and who's going to take care of Hannah. So that part makes Rory very endearing, and you like this girl. She's strong, she's tough, and she doesn't want to let people down, but almost to the detriment of herself again. And she's almost too suspicious of other people. But the cast of characters, I think, help soften Rory, help build up Jude, with the best friends and the family, and Grady and Nicole and Alton. So the cast in this book is really fun, a great variety and lots of different personalities, and it's very Texas to me. Very big personalities and very Texan. Yeah,
the mayor adds quite a bit too.
There's another story too. There's a series that could be written.
Yeah, totally. The mayor could have his own story. He's quite the character there.
Yeah, so there's a lot that will keep you intrigued. So please, when we're nitpicking here a little bit, overall, this is a fun read. It went fast. If you love You've Got Mail, you're going to love this book. If you haven't seen You've Got Mail, go see it afterwards, and it's a nice way to marry the two together. So do we have an overall starred rating, or anything else you want to say before we go to our overall starred ratings?
I guess, if you have any interest in like food trucks in general too, this book just really goes into quite a bit of detail about how it works, which was fascinating to me. I had no idea about all the things you had to do, like to get ready, to operate, I guess, this type of business. And I thought that was really fascinating. and even the recipes and like the contests and stuff was just really interesting how they did that.
Right.
Yeah, I
I think we need a recipe book out of this cookbook.
maybe, yeah, with the added nachos at the end.
Read the book to understand the nacho reference.
Yeah, you have to read the book. So
we're not gonna no spoilers here.
no.
On that. Yeah, the food truck fact. Betsy is going to be with us next month, and we're going to interview her, and so we can talk to her about food trucks and research, and maybe she can talk to us about Rory here.
But she got to try a lot of really good tacos.
But well, I think she really likes tacos.
Okay.
Well, we'll find out here.
We'll find out.
So, anything else? Do you have an overall rating for the book?
Yeah, I would say I was surprised. I would say like probably about 4.5 stars for me. Maybe it's like between 4 and 4.5 because I was kind of with you on the Rory at the beginning. But I think the way it ended up, I really did enjoy it. So I'll go with 4.5.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with 4. But which is great. A good reading. And again, getting Rory, Betsy balanced it out so well, and you could see Rory's heart. So you love her motivation for doing the right thing, and for Jude wanting to break away from his family heritage to do the right thing that's for him, and not be a part of again, the family lawyer. They're not, they grease the wheels a little bit. They're not on the up and up the whole time, and he wanted to get away and just do something good. So you like the motivation with both these characters, and how they come together at the end is really fun. We didn't talk a lot about the online dating part of it.
Oh yeah,
which
didn't.
Was
and
really fun.
It adds a lot to it. I thought she did a fantastic job with all the posts and how they related, and you really got to see their fun side through the posts. I felt like, especially at the beginning, it gets a little more serious as you go on, but the banter between them in their posts it's hilarious and really adds to the book.
Well, maybe that's the heart of the characters, because when you're online and they're anonymous and they're more open than they are in real life.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. It was neat seeing the dual the tug of war between the two characters and the way they were online versus the way they were in person. Of course, they didn't know who each other was at first. So that's
fun. That's a running theme through You've Got Mail as well, where they're online. Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, and they're online and then meeting in person, and they're rivals in real life.
All right.
And what they share online. So that's fun, and it's a good way to put it. It is a nice little tug of war between them and their characters, between online and what happens in real life. So that's a fun part. It is a fun story. It is a fun read. You and I chose it because it was time to quit being serious. I mean, not that our reads have been serious, but life is serious sometimes, and it's just nice to break up our reading into a rom-com style, which was a little different, I think, for both of us.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I would read another one.
Well, she's writing more, and we'll hear all about it next month when we talk to Betsy St. Amant, and we'll see what's coming up next on the horizon. And she's written like 15 other books, so there's lots in her backlist to choose from as well, and stuff that'll be enjoyable. But meanwhile, thank you for joining us today. I'm hungry. I think it's time to go get tacos. So this was our review of Tacos for Two from Betsy St. Amant, and it's a highly recommended read. We hope to see you next time.